Yeah, good job. The Senate will come to order. Mr. Schaffler, please call the roll.
Senators Amabile, Baisley, Ball, Bridges,
Excused.
Bright, Carson, Catlin, Cutter, Danielson, Doherty, Exum, Frizzell,
Excused.
Gonzalez, Henriksen, Judah, Kip, Kirkmeyer, Kolker, Liston, Lundin,
Excused.
Marchman, Michelson-Genet, Mullica, Pelton B, Pelton R, Rich, Rich, Roberts, Rodriguez, Simpson, Snyder, Sullivan, Wiseman, Winter, Senate District 17 vacant. Mr. President.
Let's do this. The morning roll call is 31 present, 0 absent, 3 excused, and 1 vacant. We have a quorum. Senator Snyder, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the journal. Senator Rich.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate Journal of February 21st, 2025 to be approved as corrected by the Secretary.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Oh, we got one no. The ayes have it, and the motion is adopted. Senate Services.
Correctly printed, Senate Bill 177 and 178. Correctly engrossed, Senate Bill 70 and 129.
Message from the House.
The House is adopted and returns herewith Senate Joint Resolution 6.
Consideration of resolutions proceed out of order. Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate proceed out of order to take up a consideration of resolutions.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted. The Senate will proceed out of order to take up consideration of resolutions. Consideration of resolutions. Mr. Schaffler, please read the title of SR 006.
Senate Resolution 006 by Senators Liston and Mullica concerning the 3-year anniversary of the war in Ukraine.
Senator Liston.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move Senate Resolution 006, and I ask that the resolution be read at length.
Mr. Schaffler, please read SR 006 at length.
Whereas Monday, February 24, 2025, marks the 3-year anniversary of Russia's unjust invasion upon the people of Ukraine, the Ukrainian people have fought valiantly to defend their homeland over these past 3 years, sacrificing life and limb to expel a vast Russian occupation. Currently, more than 200,000 military personnel and civilians have given their lives for this noble fight. More than 10 million Ukrainians have been forced to abandon both their homes and their livelihoods. And whereas, unfortunately, despite this tenacious resistance, Ukraine has been subjected to an unprecedented level of destruction. Overall, Russia's unjust invasion has caused over $157 billion in property damages alone, destroying over 250,000 Ukrainian homes and businesses. In frontline towns such as Mariupol, 90% of housing has been demolished, while cities such as Bakhmut and Mariinka have seen nearly every one of their buildings obliterated by Russia's merciless assaults. These developments have driven countless communities into disarray, with nearly 15 million Ukrainians, including over 6 million children, in current need of humanitarian aid in the midst of another winter. And whereas Ukraine Power, a Colorado Springs-based 501c3 nonprofit organization, has worked hard to deliver nearly $400,000 worth of supplies to the embattled people of Ukraine over these past 3 years. By providing essential resources such as generators, gas stoves, and electronics for youth education, Ukraine Power has helped countless Ukrainians weather this turbulent period of their nation's history. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate of the 75th General Assembly of the State of Colorado that the Colorado State Senate, 1, commends Ukraine Power for its continued efforts to help the Ukrainian people and for its advocacy on behalf of Colorado's sizable Ukrainian population. 2, in the midst of ongoing tragedy, stands in support of the Ukrainian people who have courageously defended their homeland from an unjust Russian invasion. And 3, as the United States, Ukraine, and Russia work to bring this disastrous conflict to an end, urges all involved parties to pursue a just, sustainable peace that honors the sovereign independence of the Ukrainian people and preserves the traditional boundaries of the Ukrainian state. Be it further resolved that copies of this resolution be sent to Ukraine Power, the Embassy of Ukraine in Washington, D.C., and Ukrainians of Colorado.
Discussion, Senator Mullica.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to take this opportunity to thank my colleague from El Paso County for bringing this forward, and to our guests on the floor here. It's an honor to stand before you today on the solemn anniversary of the war in Ukraine, a conflict that has challenged our world in ways many of us never imagined, and one that continues to shape the course of history in real time. We gather here today to reflect on the resilience of the Ukrainian people and to reaffirm our unwavering support for their fight for freedom, democracy, and sovereignty. 3 years ago today, the world watched in horror as Russia's unprovoked invasion of Ukraine began, tearing apart lives of millions of innocent civilians. Let us be clear, one person caused this war. There's one dictator in this equation, and his name is Vladimir Putin. Yet, even in the face of unimaginable hardship, the people of Ukraine have shown the world the true meaning of courage and determination. In Colorado, we have always prided ourselves on our commitment to liberty and justice. We stand with those who fight for their right to self-determination, whether here at home or across the globe. That's why, as we mark this tragic anniversary, we must not forget the thousands of Ukrainian soldiers and civilians who continue to endure and sacrifice. Their courage is a beacon of hope for all of those who cherish freedom, and it is our responsibility to support them in every way we can. In our state, we see the impact of this war every day, from the thousands of Ukrainian refugees who have found sanctuary in our communities, to the companies and organizations that are working tirelessly to provide humanitarian aid. Coloradans are stepping up to make a difference. We have shown what it means to stand in solidarity with those who are oppressed and to reject the forces of tyranny and authoritarianism. But as we reflect on the bravery of the Ukrainian people, we must also recognize that this war is not just about Ukraine. It is about all of us. It is about defending the principles of democracy, sovereignty, and human dignity that we hold dear. The war in Ukraine represents a critical moment in the struggle for global peace and security, and the outcome of this conflict will shape the world for generations to come. So let us recommit ourselves to the cause of freedom. Let us continue to push for stronger international support for Ukraine, whether through diplomatic means, economic sanctions, or military aid. Let us support the humanitarian efforts that are helping those who have been displaced and traumatized by the violence, and let us never forget the Ukrainian struggle is our struggle, because in the end, the fight for freedom is the fight we must all share. In closing, let us honor the lives lost and the sacrifices made. Let us stand in solidarity with the people of Ukraine, and let us work toward a world where peace, justice, and freedom prevail over fear, oppression, and aggression. And let us never be afraid to speak the truth.
Senator Liston.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I too want to echo the fine words of the good senator from Thornton. Colleagues and people in the gallery listening, you know, we think we have a tough day when we don't have our cell phones working, or it's cold, or you know, just the minor difficulties. We have no idea, or at least some of us have no idea of what the good people of Ukraine go through every single day. Think about last week when it was cold, when it was 0 or below. The good people of Ukraine, they don't have heat, they don't have light, Their homes, their cities have been obliterated. If you've seen pictures, which I assume some of you have, you've seen pictures of entire cities that are, we're not talking about little villages, we're talking about cities of 100,000 or more that have been absolutely flattened by the Russian aggression. And yet these people persist on to carry the torch of liberty and freedom. They didn't start this war, the Russians did. Let's be clear about that. The Russians started, and Vladimir Putin, who is evil, total evil. So it is our honor to recognize the good people of Ukraine and their fight for freedom. That's all they want, is freedom and justice and the ability to live in peace, just like we all do. So I'm honored to be here with my good colleague from Thornton. And Mr. President, if it's appropriate, if you think it's appropriate, that maybe we can have an opportunity. We have citizens here. These are actual citizens whose relatives are over there right now. These are people who are over here carrying the torch of liberty. And if it pleases you, Mr. President, if we have the opportunity that you can come and meet these fine people from Ukraine and see their pictures, pictures worth 1,000 words. And by the way, if there was a problem with the pictures, I will take blame for that. I'm sorry that didn't quite work out on the size and so forth. I will take full responsibility for that myself. So, Mr. President, thank you, colleagues. Thank you for paying attention to this. And with that, Mr. President, I'll turn it over to you.
Any further discussion? There is further discussion. Senator Danielson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you to my colleagues for bringing this forward and to the guests in the room that I will greet in a moment. I agree wholeheartedly with the words in the resolution. I am, however, deeply troubled by recent statements made by Donald Trump, and I join my fellow Coloradans and Americans in the international community. The reason I bring it up is because there's someone missing from who this should be sent to. If it is okay with the sponsors, I would like to do an amendment to add the President of the United States receive a copy of this amendment. A copy of the resolution. Because I also believe that we should honor the goal of the Ukrainian people wasn't just to have independence and live with peace. They want to retain their original lands. They want to restore what was taken. And that used to be the position of the American government. So I should think that we can send a quick message to our president and remind him of all the wonderful things that you put in this original resolution. And I just wanted it to speak my piece, to say, yes, we stand in solidarity with the people of Ukraine, and for whatever we can do in our power here in the state legislature, that we wish to see that as soon as possible, but under the terms that we always pursued. And thank you.
Senator Mutlica.
You're all right with that? Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you to the good senator from Wheat Ridge for those comments. Have no problem with sending that. I'm not sure of the process or how that's done, though, Mr. President. We don't have anything ready or running. Yeah.
Senator Mullica, what we would do is take a senatorial 5 for an amendment to be drafted. It does not require a vote to offer an amendment. We would then have the amendment read, and then we would run the amendment if that's what sponsors would like. Senator Mullica.
I would request a senatorial 5.
Granted.
Yep, and we can agree.
Members, while we're in the Senatorial 5, this would be a great opportunity to greet our guests. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll be back in the Senatorial 5.
Just sends a copy to the president.
Senator Danielson needs a copy.
Oh, it's okay. He's okay with it.
Okay.
Just making sure it's not
Are you gonna run it? You gonna run the minute?
No, I don't need to run it.
All right, here we go. Ready?
Just give us 1 second. Hey, Cliff. Hey, Larry, you ready?
Members, we are back hearing SR 006. There's an amendment at the desk. Mr. Schaffler, please read L001 to SR 006.
Amendment L001, amend printed
Senator
resolution.
Mullica,
Thank you, Mr. President. I move Amendment L001 to SR 006.
to the amendment. Any
Thank
discussion?
you, Mr. President. Members, it's like 2.5 lines. It just says, after DC, insert President Donald J. Trump, just to make sure that a copy of this is also sent to the President of the United States. I ask for a yes vote.
Seeing no further, is there further discussion? Senator List? Nope, seeing no further discussion. The motion is the adoption of Amendment L001 to SR 006. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 31 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, 3 excused, and 1 vacant, L001 to SR 006 is adopted. Any further discussion on SR 006? Seeing none, the motion is the adoption of SR 006. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 31 ayes, 0 no. With a vote of 31 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, 3 excused, and 1 vacant, SR 25006 is adopted. Co-sponsors, Senator Mullica.
Thank you, Mr. President. I request that the current roll call be added as co-sponsors.
Seeing no objection, the current roll call will be added as co-sponsors.
Good job, Larry.
Thank you, Mr. President.
You are welcome. Proceed out of order. Moment of personal privilege, Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we proceed out of order for a moment of personal privilege.
You heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The Senate will proceed out of order for a moment of personal privilege.
Senator Coleman.
Thank you, Madam President. I request a moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Thank you, Madam President. Members, please join me in acknowledging the members of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I will read a tribute. The Senate and the House of Representatives convene in the first session of the 75th General Assembly hereby extends heartiest congratulations and commendation to Denver alumni of the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. The members of the Colorado State Senate and the Colorado State House convened in the 75th General Assembly acknowledge this sorority for their service to the state of Colorado. For 112 years, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated has championed sisterhood, scholarship, service, and social action. Founded on January 13th, 1913, by 22 visionary women at Howard University, the sorority has grown into a global force with over 350,000 members and 1,050 chapters. Chartered in 1939, the Denver alumni chapter has spent 85 years uplifting communities through advocacy, mentorship, and outreach. Guided by its 5-point programmatic thrust, DAC remains committed to empowering the Black community and beyond. As they honor their legacy, they continue to serve with resilience, carrying forward the torch for generations to come. With love and devotion to your sisterhood, we offer this recognition to the Denver alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated at the Colorado State Capitol to commemorate their lasting impact on the state of Colorado, on request of myself as well as Speaker Julie McCluskey. Members, please join me in giving all of these individuals a round of applause. We have with us a few distinguished members that I'd like to recognize. Would like to recognize Social Action Co-Chairs Tanya Ennis and Ashley Wedgeworth, as well as President Alice Arline. Thank you so much for being here with us today. We appreciate you.
Senator Coleman.
Thank you very much. And Madam President, again, moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
I love all our fraternities and sororities, but I wanted to specifically acknowledge Delta Sigma Theta sorority because one of our very own, actually a few of our very own, are members of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. The first African-American woman to be elected here in the state Senate was, as you all know, the Honorable Gloria Tanner. And she passed recently, and her legacy lives on through this amazing sorority. And I really appreciate this group because this group has also helped grow and raise and teach my daughter, Naomi, who's a part of their Delta Gems as well as Delta Academy program, the importance of being an amazing leader and really appreciate you all being a model for so many, but especially young black women like my daughter. So again, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. Good.
Senator Winter.
Thank you, Madam President. I request a moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Thank you, Madam President. Today, I want to take a moment to welcome the Polish renewable energy leaders that are all over there in the back corner. The Polish renewable energy leaders are taking part in a congressional office for international leadership whose mission is to inspire congressional and citizen diplomacy with global civic and political leaders. The Open World program is a 10-day professional exchange built on foundational values of authentic communication and immersive cultural experiences. And I would encourage everyone to go over there and talk about renewable energy, talk about what they're doing in Poland, talk about their leadership, and talk about what we've done in Colorado. And we welcome you, and an international exchange is always beneficial for all of us to learn. Thank you for being here.
Members, if you would allow us, we'll take, again, a brief senatorial five just for an opportunity to acknowledge our guests. Thank you. Liston and Roberts. Liston. They're up on third reading. You can get Larry Liston and Senator Roberts. They're up next. Your bill's up on third first. Oh, no, you're good. Your bill's up on third first, so we're going to go on third. Yeah. Third reading of bills. Final passage. Mr. Schaffler, please read the title to Senate Bill 70.
Senate Bill 70 by Senators Liston and Roberts and Representative Armagost concerning requirements for online marketplaces with respect to third-party sellers.
Senator Liston.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move Senate Bill 70 on third reading and final passage. Ask for an aye vote.
Any further discussion? There is discussion. Senator Baisley.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is one of those bills where I wish I could split my vote. The first part of that of this I like immensely. It appropriately addresses a theft problem that retail is experiencing, and I wish that it had stopped at that point so that I could be fully behind it. The requirements on industry after that, I believe, should have been placed on law enforcement alone, with requiring cooperation with the marketplaces. But I just don't want my no vote on this bill to be taken as a rejection of the entire thing, because I do think we need to address this issue, this matter, and do so appropriately. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any further discussion on Senate Bill 70? Seeing none, the motion is the passage of Senate Bill 70. Are there any no votes? Senators Baisley, Carson, Pelton B. With a vote of 28 ayes, 3 noes, 0 absent, 3 excused, 1 vacant, Senate Bill 70 is passed. Co-sponsors. Mr. Schaffler, please read the title to Senate Bill 129.
Senate Bill 129 by Senators Cutter and Winter and Representatives Joseph and McCormick concerning protections related to a legally protected healthcare activity.
Senator Cutter.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move Senate Bill 25-129 on third reading and final passage.
Any discussion? Seeing none, the motion is the passage of Senate Bill 129. Are there any no votes? Senators Simpson, Catlin, Baisley, Rich, Liston, Pelton R., Carson, Bright, Kirkmeyer, Pelton B. With a vote of 21 ayes, 10 noes, 0 absent, 3 excused, and 1 vacant, Senate Bill 129 is passed. Co-sponsors, Senators Weissman, Henriksen, Kipp, Judah, Michelson Janae, Gonzalez, Marchman, Sullivan, Danielson, Snyder, Colker, Amabile, Mullica, Exum, Doherty, Roberts, Ball. Please add the president. General orders, second reading of bills, consent calendar. Senator Henriksen.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for consideration of general orders, second reading of bills, consent calendar.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The motion is adopted. The Senate will resolve itself to the Committee of the Whole for consideration of general orders, second reading of bills, consent calendar, and Senator Henriksen will take the chair.
The committee will come to order, and we'll only be here for a couple minutes, so the court rule is not relaxed. Mr. Schaffler, will you please read all of the bills on the general orders, second reading of bills, consent calendar?
Senate Bill 15 by Senators Cutter and Marchman and Representatives Velasco and Morrow concerning updating the Wildfire Information and Resource Center website. Senate Bill 73 by Senators Liston and Marchman and Representatives Kelty and Martinez concerning enhancing support for military-connected children with disabilities who enroll in Colorado schools. Senate Bill 35 by Senators Frizzell and Michelson-Genet and Representatives Clifford and Weinberg concerning establishing a limitation of actions against an individual performing a real estate appraisal practice.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move for the passage of all the bills on second reading of bills consent calendar and the associated committee reports, which are Senate Bill 15, Senate Bill 73 in the education report, and Senate Bill 35 on the business and the business labor technology report.
Any discussion on the committee reports? Seeing none, the motion is the adoption of all of the committee reports. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee reports are adopted. Is there any discussion on any of the bills on the general order second reading of bills consent calendar? Seeing none, the motion is the adoption of all the bills on the general order second reading of bills consent calendar. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bills are adopted. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
The motion is for the committee to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee will rise and report.
Senate will come to order. Senator Henriksen.
Thank you, Mr. President. Your committee of the whole has met and had a number of bills under consideration on the general order second reading of bills consent calendar. Mr. Schaffler, will you please read the report?
February 24, 2025. Mr. President, your committee of the whole begs leave to report it has had under consideration the following attached bills, being the second reading thereof, and makes the following recommendations thereon. Senate Bill 15, Senate Bill 73 as amended, Senate Bill 35 as amended, passed on second reading and ordered engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage.
Senator Henriksen.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the report.
The motion is the adoption of the committee of the whole report. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 31 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 3 excused, and 1 vacant, the committee of the whole report is adopted. Senate Bill 15, Senate Bill 73 is amended, Senate Bill 35 is amended, passed on second reading and ordered engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Second reading of bills. Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to lay over the balance of this general order second reading of bills until Tuesday, February 25th, 2025.
The motion is to lay over the second reading of the bills calendar to Tuesday, February 25th, 2025. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and second reading of the bills will lay over until Tuesday, February 25th, 2025. Governor's appointments, consent calendar. Consideration of governor's appointments, consent calendar. Mr. Schaffler, please read the appointment list on the consent calendar.
Member of the Board of Trustees for Metropolitan State University of Denver, effective January 1st, 2025, for a term expiring December 31st, 2028, Ryan Frazier of Aurora, Colorado, reappointed.
Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the passage of the appointment on the consideration of governor's appointment consent calendar, which is Ryan Frazier of Aurora for the Board of Trustees for the Metropolitan State University of Denver.
Any discussion? Seeing none, the motion is the confirmation of the appointment of the consent calendar. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 31 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 3 excused, and 1 vacant, the appointment is confirmed. Announcements. Senator Coker.
Thank you, Mr. President. Education Committee will be meeting today at 1:30 in room 357. We'll be hearing one bill, Senate Bill 153. Senate Bill 123 is pulled off the calendar and will be laying over Senate Bill 119 until Wednesday. Thank you.
Very good. Senator Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. President. May I ask for a moment of personal privilege?
Granted.
Thank you. Colleagues, I wanted to acknowledge some guests that I have on the floor. I don't know if any of you know where Meeker and Rangeley are. They're about as far west as you can go before you get into Utah. And we have some students who drove a very long way to be here with us. They are involved in their government in the Meeker School District and the Rangeley School District. If you guys want to stand, there's some in the gallery as well. Thank you for making the trip. Thank you for your interest in your state government. Welcome.
Senator Liston.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I would ask for a moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Thank you. Members, we have the color version today. I want to re-invite you once again. Tomorrow is our Nuclear Caucus Lunch and Learn, where we have Dr. Robert Zubrin. It'll be over on the first floor of the State Services Building. Lunch will be provided. This gentleman is a nuclear engineer. There is one of these on all your desks. You're invited to come hear from him personally, ask any questions that you may have tomorrow from roughly 12 to 1, and I sincerely invite you and or your aides. Thank you, Mr. President.
You got it. Senator Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Senate Judiciary Committee will meet today at 1:30 in the Old Supreme Court. We will hear the following bills in the following order: Senate Bill 43, House Bill 1050, House Bill 1129, and House Bill 1081. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, on your desk was an announcement about a filming this evening at History Colorado, Mirasol, Looking at the Sun. I encourage you to attend. Water is a finite resource and an essential one. And as a farmer and rancher in the assembly, I would appreciate you all coming to the event tonight. It starts with a reception at 5:30. The screening of the film starts at 6, and it's only 36 minutes long. If you have the opportunity, I encourage you to come by History Colorado this evening. Thank you, Mr. President.
You got it. Senator Pelton R.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's that time of the week again. Tomorrow morning, 7:15, down in the basement 109, Pastor Dan Fowle will be down there giving us our weekly Bible studies. So come down and feed your soul and feed your bellies.
Any further announcements? I have one announcement. Members, on your desk, you received a flyer for a Taste the Diaspora. It's tomorrow, the 25th, from 11 to 1:30 in the West Foyer. We'll have food from Uncle Dave's Barbecue, Chef Swago, African Grill, the Jerk Pit Smokehouse, and that vegan dude. These are all at the request of Senator Simpson. He loves this food, and so I told him that I'd bring all these people here. So make sure you stop by and get a plate. That being said, Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, we will be keeping the desk open to read some bills across the desk, so no need to return. On that, Mr. President, I move the Senate recess until 11:30 a.m. today.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Anybody? There we go. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The Senate will stand in recess until 11:30 a.m. today.